ever find yourself doing something for a client that they've asked you to do, and before you've had a chance to say, yes, of course, I can do that for you, here's the price, you've already done it and it's too late? It's too late to actually ask them to pay for it, and you've got a profit leak. You're leaving profit on the table. So let's have a look at the 3 things we can do to fix that. So this came from a question from one of my clients, where they said one of their clients keeps asking for extras that they're not paying for, and they don't feel comfortable asking them for money up front. So we had a talk through what the options might be and how I did that. So I want to talk you through 3 ways that I do this. So quite often I'm asked, can you just do this? Or could you just do that? Or I need a quick favour, or I need this job doing, it shouldn't take you very long. So that's a really interesting one. When one of my clients tells me, I need this job doing, it won't take you very long, because the question is, how do they know how long it's going to take you? Sometimes things take far longer than you ever imagined. So in some instances, you want to do the job for free, or you want to go above and beyond. You want to do something a little bit extra to delight your customer. But sometimes, that really works when there's fat in the contract, or perhaps it's a new client that you're trying to impress, or you're trying to treat people well. Now, the challenge is in this day and age where we've got COVID-19 and people have been asked to drop fees, but they're needing more support. So this is the dilemma that we find ourselves in at the moment. So we have had to drop fees for some clients where their revenue and their services and their operations have plummeted, but in order so that the actual physical transactional work that we do has greatly reduced, which is fair. We would reduce our fees accordingly. But then, of course, they need help with furloughing staff, with CBILS applications, with bounce back loans applications, trying to understand the things that are relevant for them. So the challenge for us is, at what point do you stop doing stuff for free because we need to protect our own business, and do you carry on? Do you want to charge your customer for that job? So, and this is a challenge that a lot of our clients are seeing. Their clients are asking for reduced fees, but in some cases they're asking for increased workload. So how do we do that? Well, there's 3 options. And the first is that you have to halt the conversation. You have to put that stop in the conversation and change the expectation of the client that they're going to get this thing, this task, this service, this product for free. Now, if it's a product, I think it's easier because people are less likely to expect a product for free. You wouldn't walk into Tesco's or Sainsbury's, pick something off the shelf, and then just because you don't have enough money on you at the time, expect to walk out with it free, would you? That just doesn't happen. If you walk into a shop, you pick something up, you expect to pay the price on the job or on the product. Now, it might be that there's a cheap version of the product or an on-sale version that's close to date of the product. So maybe you're prepared to pay a lower price for that product. But if you're asking for a service, it's too easy to expect somebody to do something for you without necessarily expecting to pay for it. Now, as I say, sometimes you want to do that because you'll want to go above and beyond for your client, or perhaps you're prospecting and you're doing a bit of speculative work for someone. Sometimes you've got the time and you've got the inclination, you just do it anyway because you like being helpful. But sometimes you have to charge. So there are 3 ways that we use Xero and other tools that are available to us to stop that conversation, to say to the client, yes, I can do that, let me send you a quote. Or yes, I can do that, let me send you to a product on our website and you can pay for the service up front. So place your order. So you have to find the right words that suits your business. Now, one way of doing that is to pop into Xero and to create a quote. And this is really handy if it's quite, if you're not comfortable having that difficult conversation. Instead of saying, this is the price, this is what we're going to do, and trying to find those words, you can say, let me send you a quote for this job. It's out of scope. It's in addition to our contract, whatever those words are for you. And this is one I've already created earlier. So If Bob comes to me and asks me for, say, a one-to-one because they want to do a cash flow forecast, instead of going away and spending time doing that cash flow forecast, because they always take way longer than you anticipate, your client might think it's something I can just knock up in 10 or 15 minutes, but actually it's going to take two, maybe 3 hours, depending on the size of the business, depending on the assumptions. Got to take the data out of Xero, got to create a model in Excel, got to work out how to do it. Because as much as I wish there was a fabulous cash flow forecasting tool that actually works really well across all platforms for all types of customer, the truth is an Excel spreadsheet for cash flow forecasting is often the best tool because of the sheer number of variables and how quickly you want to be able to change those variables. So it might be that I go away and I build something in an hour, and then we're going to update all the assumptions on a live. So I might call that a power hour. So I can set up my power hour as a product here in Xero. So it's something that I can refer back to. The wording is already there, the pricing is already there. So I can create my quote, I can send it out to my customer, and I can edit my template accordingly. And then it's up to them if they value what I'm going to deliver enough to pay for my time to do it. And you can do the same in your business. Option number 2 is if somebody wants to spend some time with you, is set up something like a power hour on a calendar. So if I were to, I use Calendly in my business. So I have a number of meetings set up, 30-minute meetings, 60-minute meetings, and they all have a different purpose. So I have these meetings set up and they're attached to email templates, or they're attached to pages on my website where people can book in specific meetings for specific things. And it also helps set the boundaries. So if a client is booking a 30-minute catch-up, it's different to a client booking a 60-minute catch-up. So the time frame is set. And again, I've set my expectations before sending this out to the client. Now you can create a product or a meeting in your Calendly or your calendar link, depending on which calendar you use, and you can collect payments. So there's often, you might have to pay for an upgrade. I think the upgrade for Calendly is $15 to allow the facility to upgrade your account to collect payments. But I could collect a payment with Stripe or with PayPal. And again, I can send that link out to my clients and say, yes, sure, we can have this conversation. You need to book this time in my diary. And again, it helps to avoid people wasting your time for things that are going to suck up your time and your energy without being paid for. So it's even more important in these turbulent times to make sure you're charging for the things that you should be charging where you have the ability to charge them. Now, option number 3 is to set up a shop. So we have a shop. So we're accountants with a shop. And when somebody asks me for something that's outside of scope, that's outside their contract, what I do is I send them a link to the product and the shop. And that allows them to make the choice again, whether they want that thing badly enough to pay for it or whether they're going to go and do it themselves. Now, the thing that is really common, one of my most popular products is this W8BNE form, which takes about an hour to complete all in. And so that's £120 plus VAT. So I do often get people who ring up and want me to talk through a W8BNE while they're on the phone and while they're trying to fill it in themselves. And that can take me up to 45 minutes to talk somebody through that and talk through the implications of filling the form in and how the IRS treats their company if they're a sole director and shareholder. And it became a substantial drain on my time for things that I wasn't being paid for by people who are not in my world and are not my client. So I set this product up, and now when somebody rings me and says, can I have, some information or some feedback on how to complete this? I say, yes, of course. We've got 2 options. I can do it for you at £120 including VAT, or I can check you the one that you've already sent in, and this is what we do. And that's as far as I go on that conversation, because I don't want to get sucked into a half-hour conversation with somebody who I've never met before and give away all of this free knowledge, because it is a huge profit leak in the business. So it's trying to use my time more efficiently. Now, the advantage of having a product on your website rather than just having a calendar link or a quote is that the invoice is raised, or the receipt is raised at the point of sale. So I think Calendly can also send out a receipt, but it doesn't account for the VAT properly. So if you're VAT registered, then setting up a product on your website or setting up a quote in Xero allows you to quickly generate something and raise the invoice that comes into your accounting inbox. Now, the other thing that I frequently do, so you can raise a quote in Xero, you can send somebody to a paid power hour or whatever you might call it in a calendar, or you can set up a product in your website. The other thing I do is use canned responses in email. So canned responses means that you can set up an email template. So instead of having to keep finding the words and trying to find the way to say thanks but no thanks, I don't want to do this for free, here's my fee. Once you've found those words, you create an email template, you allow yourself, you stick it in canned responses, or what I actually use is another tool called Mixmax, which allows me to set up all of these email templates for various reasons. And I can put those words in, send a link to the product out, and it literally takes seconds instead of minutes trying to write an email to politely say to the customer, I'd love to do this for you, but you need to pay for it. So it's just a case of finding the right words once and then setting up all your processes to save you time later. So I hope you found that useful. If you found it useful and if you enjoyed this video, please click on the like button below. If you're watching it on replay, please let me know with the hashtag replay. And I'd also be really interested to know what you do in your business. How do you avoid profit leaks? When was the last time somebody asked you to do something for free, and what did you say? Did you do it or did you not do it? Did you put them off? Did you do it and then feel guilty afterwards because you know you should have charged for it? There's an argument that doing too much for free is training a bad relationship with your client. On the one hand, you're going above and beyond, and it's really great that you're delivering this wonderful, fabulous service, but if you do it too much, it becomes an expectation and it becomes the norm. So another thing that you could do is, when you're sending your monthly invoice out, is you could add a charge on your invoice to show what the cost of that time or effort was and how much you've discounted it by. Now, if you set that up as two different account codes in your Xero sales, this is the full charge and this is the discounted rate, you can also see how much you're giving away over the period of a year, and that also might be quite an interesting metric for you to have a look at. So do let me know if you've enjoyed this video in the comments, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.